When our young protagonist, our young hero, stands out on that cliff in that rainstorm, and his girlfriend says to him, "I'm sorry, Harry, it ain't gonna work, it's over," and breaks his heart. We want to break the reader's heart too. We want the reader to write to us and complain about the way he's been treated. We want the reader to get as wet as Harry does standing out in that rain. That's literally true. And a good way to look at mistakes is this: anything you do that detracts from that effect, that reminds the reader that he or she is sitting home in a chair reading a book, detracts from the effect of what you're trying to write. And that's the way to look at this stuff. Do not do anything that reminds the reader where he is. Do not break the image. Don't break the experience. Okay? So that's what we're going to aim for. I'll tell you, if you can do that, if you can write a piece of fiction that brings tears to my eyes, that makes me want to write you a terrible. I killed off a cat, a pussy, one time, a little kitten, in one book. And you wouldn't believe how much angry email I got. You can kill characters off, nobody cares. You kill a kid, you're in trouble. Okay, that's a good sign. One of the best things ever happened to Conan Doyle was the mob that showed up outside his house when he tried to kill off Sherlock Holmes. You don't do stuff like that without paying a price, and you want to pay the price. Okay, so we talked a little bit about overwriting. What else? Well, I'll be asking you, what else can detract from the experience? What else can a writer do that's going to detract from my experiencing the event? It's going to remind me I'm home reading a book. Well, let me start you off with a couple very easy ones. He gets the science wrong. Okay? Or he does what I did in one book where I put Offutt Air Force Base in Colorado and not in Nebraska. I got lots of mail from Nebraska. Really? Now, by the way, I should mention this whole business. You have to keep the factual information to a minimum, okay? But get it right. And I'll tell you, the tough stuff that we tend to screw up is not the stuff that we don't know. It's the stuff we think we do know that we don't bother to check on. I always, for whatever reason, I always thought it was in Colorado. I never looked. Now, let's talk for a couple of minutes. We're talking science fiction here, basically. So, all right, so let's assume that we're going to be talking about science. Periodically, we're going to want to get the science right. Or something else, maybe the history or whatever. How do you do it? How do you get the critical information you need, say, about black holes? Somebody said research. Okay. Was it you, ma'am? Okay, you said research. May I ask what your major was?
Oh, in college?
Yes, what's your specialty?
Medical technology. Medical
technology. So in other words, you could go read about black holes and you wouldn't have a clue, right?
Oh,
Not too much.
Well, the reality is that unless you're a physicist, don't trust yourself on this stuff. Okay. Unless you've made a lifelong hobby of it and you really know what you're talking about, do not trust yourself. I won't speak for any of you. I was an English major, and I cannot figure out most of the stuff I read that has to do with physics. I really don't. And I try hard. I like to think I'm at least reasonably bright. But when they talk about bending time and space being made out of rubber, I'm lost. I don't know what they're talking about. So I don't trust myself. This is really what I'm trying to say. I don't trust myself to do the research. I might get it wrong. So what I'm going to do is get a physicist. I'm going to ask him. And you might think, well, what? I don't know any physicists. Doesn't matter. I can tell you that I've been writing professionally now for, 35 years. I have never asked any specialist in any field a question and not gotten an answer. And he's gotten sometimes excited answers. A lot of times because you'll ask them questions that are off the wall, that are unlike anything they've ever heard of, but they get excited. And by the way, it's not a matter of, oh, well, they don't know my name, I'm just getting started. They're not going to pay attention to me. They will. They will. I started out, I was doing that before I even sold anything. I was asking questions of people. and they loved it. I remember calling one, and by the way, all you do is just pick, it's easier now because you got online people. You look up the University of Pennsylvania, you get their astronomy department. Call some observatory. I called an observatory one time. I don't remember anymore who I talked to, but I said, Doctor so-and-so, I want to blow up a star. Is there any way I could do that? Blow up a star. Okay, look, hold on, kid. I'll get back to you in a couple minutes. Give me your, and I gave my number. He called me back about 5 minutes later, and he, I was really interested. He said, "Do you have any antimatter available?" Sure, I got some of that.